A very good morning to the honorable session chairs and all the participants present in our technical session on the theme Sustainable Practices, Information Technology, International Business and Agriculture. I, Momita Ghosh, student of MBA, Amity Business School, will be your host for today's technical session. At the outset, we would like to thank our respected session chairs, Dr. Anil Kumar, Westminster International University, Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and Dr. Shabita Man, Amity Business School, for making time from their busy schedules and being here with us to evaluate the academic submission by our young participant and provide them valuable feedback to enable them to refine their work further. Before we begin with the presentation, I would like to introduce our eminent session chairs, Dr. Anil Kumar. Dr. Anil Kumar is presently working as Senior Lecturer, Business Management and Marketing Department, School of Business and Economics, Westminster International University in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. He has done his PhD from Maulana Azad National Institute of Technology, Bhopal, India, and MBA from Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology, Allahabad, India. He has qualified UGC NET in management and has more than 17 years of teaching and corporate experience. He has taught courses on brand management, retail management, consumer behavior, and corporate marketing management and marketing of services. Dr. Kumar has published and presented his research work in national and international journals and conferences. He has been a reviewer of several prestigious international journals. Dr. Kumar research interest lies in marketing, supply chain management, green marketing, retail management, consumer behavior, entrepreneurship, e-commerce, etc. A very warm welcome to you, sir, in our technical session. Our second session chair is Dr. Savita Man. Dr. Savita Man is an assistant professor for marketing and exam coordinator at Amity Business School, Amity University, Haryana. She completed her graduation and master's from Maharshi Dayanand University, Rohtak, and received her doctorate of profiling of online consumers from Guru Javeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar. She has more than 10 years of industry and academic experience. She has presented and published around 20 plus research papers in various international and national conferences and journals. I welcome you, ma'am, in today's technical session. Now, I would like to brief all the participants about certain rules of the session. All the participants will present paper in the sequence which has been already shared earlier. 7 minutes will be given to each participant for the presentation, followed by question and answer session chairs. Now, I would like to call our first participant, Piali Roy Chaudhuri and team. You can present your screen.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, so just a second, I'll just share my screen. So is it visible?
Yes, please.
Thank you so much. A very good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Piali Roy Chaudhuri. I'm assistant professor in Institute of Management Study, Kolkata. I'm here to present my paper. So jointly we have written with Dr. Indrajit Ghoshal and myself and Dr. Monica Arora. So our paper title is Can International Business Perspective Measure Sustainable Development in BRICS Countries? A panel data analysis. So my basic presentation will go like this. First, we'll talk about abstract, then introduction, then review of literature, problem identification.
Piali, I'm sorry. for interruption. Can you please press F5 for slide share? Is it showing
Sorry,
small?
I'm not able to hear.
Your presentation is showing small.
Oh, my presentation
You
is
need to
showing.
share your slide. Yes.
Is it
yes,
fine?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's fine now.
Fine. Yes. So yeah, here my abstract goes as we have discussed about, as my topic goes, like the relationship between FDI and the carbon emission towards the sustainability of international business in BRICS economics. So that's why we have found out the relational analysis or co-integration, doing a panel data analysis, panel ARDL among BRICS economies countries, taking the data from 1993 to 2019. And then we have analyzed the relationship between FDI and carbon emission with the interaction effect of poverty. So basically we have determined an interaction effect of poverty and carbon emission with the effect on FDI. So as we all know that FDI or foreign direct investment is a very important aspect for the developing economies to proceed further to have a sustainable economic well-being. So that is why FDI is very much needed and is a necessary factor to augment economic growth. So for this reason, we have jotted down few literatures starting from very recent literature, starting from 2010 to 2022. We have done somewhere around 30 literatures. Among that, only 10, I think only 6 I have produced here due to shortage of time. So basically, all the studies majorly is dependent on the finding out the relationship between FDI and growth, specifying the carbon emission effect or the the environmental effect, but not in our they have not taken our methodology. So our methodology is completely different, where we have taken the interaction effect. The term interaction effect talks about the carbon emission or CO2 emission ignited by, or say coupled with, the poverty variable, and how both of them together are affecting foreign direct investment in the BRICS economic. So that's why we have chosen the ARDL model. And the main point of choosing the autoregressive distributed lag model, econometrics model, because we have found out our data has been integrated in different data integration, like some variables are integrated of I0 and I1. So I'll quickly show my results where we have found out. Yeah, so where we have found out the descriptive statistics at the very first level, that what are the valuation of the different level of statistics. And then we found out in our table 2, we have found out the data the data integration, whether the datas are stationary at their levels or at their first difference. This is the first check of the unit root analysis or panel unit root analysis. This is the first step of doing the ARDL model. So that we have jotted down. And then finally, in table number 4, we have found out the long run ARDL models valuation, which shows that my result or our result is significant at a very 5% level. And it is showing that the interaction effect of carbon emission with poverty or coupled with poverty, which has a positive impact on FDI. So that means if the carbon emission increases in the BRICS economies, the dependence on FDI also increases. So which is a very valid fact, which happens because we are FDI dependent country, or the BRICS economies or the developing economics. So we really need FDI to flow, and then it gradually increases carbon emission. So this is gradually my result shows also. So table 5 shows the short run analysis, which talks about that if my growth, per capita growth increases, my dependency on FDI grows lesser. So it's a very outstanding result, an excellent result that we have found out that in short run, if the BRICS economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, if they start improving their growth, per capita income, they will keep the less reliance on FDI, which will ultimately bring the less environmental bad impact. So that is what our paper shows prominently. So I have the results of the short run data analysis, the country-wise data analysis for short run. So this is the whole model that we have already written in the whole of the paper. And the excellent result which shows here that in short run, foreign direct investment is actually bringing carbon emission to happen. So this result, this pairwise panel causality test in short run shows that foreign direct investment is actually causing carbon emission to happen, and which is a very negative impact which is showing in the BRICS economies. And that is why my description or my analysis shows, or my discussions shows that in short run, as FDI is causing carbon emission to enhance, it is inducing FDI flows in BRICS economies in the long run. So that means, if we continue FDI to allow, that is really good for us, definitely for improving the health of the economy. But ultimately what is happening is FDI is causing the carbon emission to happen. And then this carbon emission is again inducing the FDI to augment the flows, and then for the BRICS economies. And then what is happening, our consumption of carbon is getting inflamed or getting increased. And then finally, whether it has FDI has different positive impacts due to technological, with respect to the technological enhancement, with respect to the income enhancement in the software industries and all that. But finally, ultimately, it is just damaging the environment. So, the final outcome which we have got from our result is like, if there is less importance of the need of FDI flows in short run, BRICS can reduce the carbon emissions. So, ultimate aim is to reduce the FDI inflow, or, the need of FDI. So, my topic or our topic enhances for the reliance of the home countries in their own domestic investment. And it is just telling you to boost your home investment or domestic investment to that level, so that the reliance on FDI will go slow, or will decrease, which ultimately will impact positively in the environment. So that is why investment is very important in our development for the developing economies, because it is actually talking about the rise in a GDP and national revenue. But we have to increase the gross domestic product. We have to increase the per capita income, talking on different other factors which creates a positive impact on per capita income to increase, not towards looking for the direction of FDI. So ultimately, my topic or our topic enhances to focus on GDP growth rate to be enhanced by some other factors, but not by looking through FDI inflows, which will ultimately cause environment to damage. So this is what my conclusion, and these are the references. We use 30 references. Out of this, only 10 references I'm showing here. Some of paper which I have also written, related to FDI and growth, but carbon emission with respect to poverty is a completely new issue. So that is why it becomes lucrative for me to write about this and then showing this data analysis in front of you. Thank you very much giving me time for presenting.
Thank you so much, Piyali.
Yes.
Okay, so Asians can give their feedback now.
Okay, so I have one question, Piyali.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you just said that we need to reduce our dependence on the FDI. Am I audible?
Yeah, but your voice is getting a little cracked. So can you just come again, please?
Okay, so you just said that we need to reduce the FDI dependence.
Yes.
Okay, and we need to focus on our domestic GDP, and we need to increase our per capita income. Okay, so how this can be possible, because it will take so much time and it will impact on our economic status of the country also. Okay, so can you suggest any time that which is needed to shift from the FDI to the domestic per capita income increase or GDP, so that we can sustain this sustainability in our country? Okay, so any such kind of the implication or practical implication that you can give us?
Yeah, so like as my finding says that apart from foreign investment, you should focus on domestic investment. So I think government should take, because government intervention and political intervention is there in at least in India. So for my from my end, I can suggest that there should be some policy implications, proper policy implication to boost the domestic investment by government intervention and by say privatization of the investment, domestic investment, as we have already channelized our investment through privatization. So the privatization should be enhanced more with the domestic capital to to augment the economic growth. Apart from that, there should be other factors that will cause the economic growth to boost, to ultimately see the sustainable development in these economies.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, sir.
Really, I have one question.
Yes.
As you mentioned that FDI is causing the carbon emissions, right? All the
Yes.
developing countries are basically their economic condition is depend on FDI, right? So don't you consider it like a contradiction that at one end we are planning that sustainable development goals like SDG, and another point of time we are thinking that if this will causing a problem of carbon emissions, it is a kind of contradiction. How you can handle this?
Okay, so what I feel that because carbon emission is actually damaging the environment, so we at least can stop the carbon emission, or we can, that is why we talk about the green investment and green consumption. So first of all, we should at least reduce the carbon emission by moving towards the green consumption and the green investment rather, so that it will not, damage the, the factory products and all that. And then finally, I think in phase by phase, it should not be in one day or it should not be in 1 year. So phase by phase, we should move towards green concept, and then we may get the less reliance on FDI. For that reason, we should enhance our own domestic capital. So enhancement of our domestic capital is the most, or the prior, we should get the highest priority to reduce the reliance on FDI. We all need FDI. Until and unless we need FDI, our economies or BRICS can't, proceed further. But keeping in the mind the environmental hazard, we should our domestic investment much higher by definitely by changing the taxation policy, definitely by having the import substitution policies and all that, definitely by keeping the exchange rate at its perfect level, or the at least at the moderate level. We can these are the different things I think we need to work on the same, because until and unless we do an experiment with those variables, we can't say that which variable exactly happening or exactly doing a positive impact on reducing the reliance on FDI. So I think we should, experiment with different variables to finally see what is happening or what should happen for these economies to develop. So this is
okay. Thank you.
From my. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Piali, there is another question from participant Mona Chandra. She's asking, how can you link FDI with carbon increase? It is a matter of getting the right technology.
Okay, yes. So we get a lot of literatures. I mean, the majority of the literature talks about that, FDI is enhancing my technology. So I should implement that. I am not, I have mentioned in my full paper that yes, it has some positive impacts, and the positive impacts are much more than the negative impacts. But as we have already opened our economy since liberalization 1991, so we have already extended and expanded our FDI consumption since 1991. Now, from 1991 to 2022, somewhere around 30-40 years down the line, now I think it is our high time to be independent from our end, to at least channelize our domestic investment to fall forward, to have the sustainable development from our end. Because if we look at the developed economies, they are absolutely independent in receiving any FDI inflows. So it is just the outflows that happen. So to be their level, to be at par their level, to be at their competitive, global competitive level, I think it is now right time to channelize our investment to that level. And we are much stronger and we have become competitive. Our growth rate has become competitive with China, and we have kept China backward also to some extent to the growth. And also we can find out through this 2020 time period, COVID time period, the growth rate has become much more stable rather than the other economies, rather than Greece or rather than the other developed European Union. So that is why I think, yes, we cannot skip the part of FDI help, but that should be in another line. But the mainstream line should be to concentrate on your domestic investment to have the sustainability in your economy.
Okay, very fair. Thank you so much, Piali.
Thanks.
Thank you. Now I would like to call our next participant, Zishan Ahmed and team. Zishan Ahmed, am I audible?
Yes. Yes, good morning, everyone. Hope that I am clearly audible and visible.
Yes, very good morning. You're clearly audible and visible. Please present your screen and start your presentation. You have 7 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Please share your
Is
slide.
my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, perfectly. Please start.
So, good morning, everyone. Today, I'm presenting my topic, literature review on combined application of various alkali activated materials for soil stabilization. I'm Zishan Ahmed. I'm a PhD research scholar from Baba Saheb Naik College of Engineering, Pusad, Maharashtra, India. And my co-team members are Dr. Kiravi, he's my PhD guide, and Sufyan Ahmed, he's a graduate civil engineer. So with the kind permission of session chair, may I start my presentation, sir?
Yes, please start.
Yeah, yes, please.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, please start. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. The contents of my presentation are introduction, geopolymers, and geopolymerization, followed by review, as this is a review type of study. So here I will be presenting review related to the works where geopolymers have been incorporated in the form of various industrial and agricultural byproducts like rice ash, fly ash, metakaolin, sugarcane, bagasse ash, followed by how we can achieve more sustainability, or how we can make more cost-effective geopolymers with the elimination of materials like sodium silicate, followed by conclusion and references. So to start with the introduction. So here I will be talking what is soil stabilization. So in simple words, soil stabilization, it is a method to improve or enhance the stability of soil, or just to improve the engineering properties of soil with the addition of, let us say, some of the materials, or with the mechanical means. What is the need of soil stabilization? If you go on to the need aspects, so we know that problematic soils, soils like black cotton soils may be encountered at various parts beneath these structures. And these problematic soil shows very anomalous behavior. Like for example, if you take black cotton soil, it is having affinity with the moisture. In case of rainy seasons, it is having swelling, and in case of summers, it gets shrinks, and hence we can see major of the cracks over the surface of a black cotton soil. Now, if you talk about what are the techniques of soil stabilization, so the techniques of soil stabilization may be broadly classified in. So if we talk about the physical methods, so physical methods may be like with the help of electric or thermal methods like vitrification, heating, electrokinetic methods, or simply by means of mechanical methods, we can say with the use of synthetic reinforcements, or soil nailing, or just by replacement, or even simply we can say with the help of road rollers. And if you talk about the chemical methods, so these are the advanced methods, or you can say with the help of additives, like simply you can say with the help of cement, lime, bituminous materials, with the help of pozzolanic materials like fly ash or some miscellaneous materials. Now, if we talk about what is the present scenario in this aspect of soil stabilization, so we can say that on the basis of various literatures, it has been found that chemical stabilization has proved to be more reliable and capable of stabilizing soils effectively. Stabilizers can be classified again into two parts, that is traditional stabilizers and non-traditional stabilizers. So the materials like lime and cement can be called as traditional stabilizers. And with the use of these traditional stabilizers, we know that with the consumption of lime and cement, it is likely to cause the emission of greenhouse gases, and ultimately it may lead to the environmental pollution. So with the, if we are promoting the use of materials like lime and cement for soil stabilization, so again, this is not apart from a good aspect of sustainability. Hence, we need to look for the alternative or the materials which could be more sustainable. And hence, it has been found that nowadays traditional stabilizers are being replaced with a very rapid pace with the materials like alkali activated stabilizers, which are specially known as geopolymers. And these geopolymers are likely to render good results, and thus by minimization of the environmental threats. Now, let us come on to the part of what are geopolymers. So geopolymers are nothing but the ceramic-like materials. These are prepared at low temperatures by reacting the natural raw materials like aluminosilicates or aluminosilicate wastes like fly ash, blast furnace, like etc. With the combination of alkalis or acids, particularly known as alkali activated liquid or solution. These were developed by Joseph David Otis since year 1978, and these materials are also often referred to as green cements. Now, what is the process of alkali activation in case of geopolymers or alkali activated materials? It is just a chemical process where the powdery form of silica like fly ash or source of silica like fly ash is mixed with the alkaline activator solution. Alkali activator solution may be the combination of materials like sodium hydroxide and sodium silicate. So whenever we react these binders like fly ash with the combination of alkaline liquid, that is sodium silicate and sodium hydroxide, so it is just starting to behave like a cementitious material. And this activator plays a key role to decide the property of the hardened geopolymer material. So whatever the strength we are expecting from the produced material, that is being just governed with the use of or with the concentration of the activators. Now, what is the technique of geopolymerization? So if we see, here is a flow chart. So in case of geopolymerization, it is just following this process. So it is starting with the dissolution of these OH ions in the solution. As soon as we add the sodium hydroxide, the dissolution of OH ion takes place, followed by its migration. Then there occurs the gelation between the particles, reorganization of molecules takes place, and ultimately we get the hardened geopolymer. Now, if you talk about the structure of geopolymer may be classified into three types. That is polysilate structure, polysilate siloxane structure, and polysilate disilane structure. So depending upon the formed structure, we are likely to get the strength of the geopolymer or strength of the formed geopolymer. So if we see, it has been highlighted in many of the literatures that geopolymers that have polysilate siloxane and polysilate disiloxane structures are more rigid, more stable, and more stronger as compared to the other structures. Now, if we see what are the applications of geopolymers, so geopolymers are nowadays being widely used for making geopolymer cements and geopolymer concrete, which are often referred to as green cements or green concrete, for soil stabilization, for making of refractory materials, for safe incasting of corrosive materials, for making fireproof, heat-resistant composites, for repair and structural retrofit of aging structures and aging buildings, for hazardous and radioactive waste material storage, for making artistic and decorative materials, and for making LTGS bricks and low-cost construction materials. Now, if we specifically talk, what are the applications of geopolymers with reference to soil stabilization? So these geopolymer stabilized soils have shown superior properties, superior engineering properties as compared to the other traditional stabilizers. It has been found that there is an improvement or enhancement in the microstructure, mechanical, and engineering properties of the geopolymer stabilized soil. By the same time, there is the utilization of the industrial and agricultural byproducts, which are likely to cause threats in environment. So what are the materials which I've reviewed here? These are those materials. So the very first material is rice ash. So if you talk, rice are the shells which are produced by dehusking uh, during the operation of paddies. The quantity of these husks vary from 20 to 23% by weight of the paddy. These rices are the fuels which are having very high ash content. So normally these are consisting of 80 to 90% approximate amount of silica. And it has been reported that in India, the annual production of paddy is about 100 million tons. And these 100 million tons of paddy is likely to generate about 4 million tons of rice ash. So here's the reviewed literature by me regarding the applications of rice ash for making uh, geopolymers. So these are the papers which I've reviewed. So due to time constraints, I'm not highlighting them here. Next material is fly ash. We know that fly ash is again a very good material. It is having good potential to be utilized in case of engineering applications. So this is the residue which is being generated from the combustion of powdered coal in the specifically in the thermal power stations. The current annual production of coal ash worldwide is around 600 million tons. And this fly ash is consisting about 500 million tons at the rate of 70 to 80% of the total ash produced. And in India, if we talk about the statistics of produced fly ash, so in India annually about 130 metric tons of fly ash is generated. So here's the link of literature of fly ash. So many of the researchers have conventionally utilized fly ash and they have got positive results with the applications of fly ash.
Vishen, you
Third
have 2
material-
minutes more.
Okay. Third material is metakaolin. Again, metakaolin is the material which is having good potential to be utilized in case of the applications. Next material is sugarcane bagasse ash. So sugarcane bagasse ash is again having good potential. And if you talk about sugarcane bagasse ash, this can be called as the agricultural byproduct. And again, this is having good potential to be used in case of soil stabilization. Now, if you talk about what is how we can produce more cost-effective or more sustainable geopolymers, so it has been found that in case of conventional production of geopolymers, we are having the application of sodium silicate, and sodium silicate is again having, it is likely to have the environment. So it has been found that by one of the researchers, a comparative study has been made where this conventional geopolymer has been compared with the geopolymer where the sodium silicate fraction has been eliminated. And it has been found that with the elimination of sodium silicate, there is less reduction, or there is a more reduction in the CO2 emission globally. Let us come on to the conclusion. So if we highlight the conclusion part, so out of the various studies, it has been found that most of the techniques may be used for soil stabilization, but the conventional techniques are becoming obsolete day by day, and hence we need to go for the alternative methods of soil stabilization. And it has been found that with the application of geopolymers, we can have the consumption of industrial as well as agricultural byproducts for innovative use in case of engineering applications, like for the production of concretes, for the production of cements, or we can say for the production or for the applications in case of soil stabilization. And finally, if we go on to the part of eliminating the sodium silicate fraction while production of geopolymers, so again, it is having good potential to be utilized in case of engineering applications, because with the elimination of this sodium silicate fraction, we can have or we can achieve more sustainability globally. So here is the link of references. So these are the references which I've utilized. So almost 60 to 70 references have been considered while writing this paper. Thank you everyone for patiently listening.
Thank you so much, Zishan. Our session chair can give their feedback.
Okay, so this is the one of the good studies. So I have one query. So according to your study, the various literatures you've gone through, okay, so what is the most sustainable way that you will suggest for the soil stabilization to the marketers and the government?
If you talk about the aspect of achieving more sustainability, then it has been found that rice husk ash is the potential material which is having very good or very rich source of silica. So if we can extract the sodium silicate from rice husk ash, and if we use that extracted silica in combination with the sodium hydroxide for making the alkaline liquid, then it is likely to have the potential utilization of rice husk ash, which is likely to cause the environmental threats. Apart from that, we will achieve the geopolymer there, and it has been found that with the successful utilization of rice husk ash, we can achieve positive results. So I can just suggest the use of rice husk ash as a source of silica is the good option to achieve the sustainability.
Okay, so and what is the status in India, whether our government is using these geopolymers or not, and if they are using, at which extent they are using? Do you have any data regarding it?
Presently, if we talk about the Indian standard codes, particularly for the construction of pavements or roads, so presently no code is available where all these waste materials have been utilized. But nowadays we can say as the research is progressing, so government is just migrating, or it is just producing the codes where these pozzolanic materials starting from fly ash have been considered for the construction of road pavements. So presently,
Okay.
no advanced material has been considered. Just the focus has been made on the utilization of fly ash only.
Okay, over to you, Dr. Anil.
Yeah, Jishan, I have one question. Actually, you
Sure.
mentioned that geopolymers is helpful in soil stabilization, right?
Yes, sir.
So, do you think that this can bring another green revolution in our agriculture sector if it can stabilize? Or what do you mean by soil stabilization? It is making more productive soil or something else?
Sir, as far as the soil stabilization is concerned, so it is the term related to engineering methodology. So if we talk, if we see the application of soil, so particularly we are having application of soil in the infrastructure part. So most of the surface of soil is coming in contact with the road surfaces. And in case of road surfaces, we are getting the challenges like we are getting the deformities in the flexible pavement. Flexible pavement means the bituminous pavement, because nowadays we can see again the promotion is going on to the construction of rigid pavements where the concrete is being utilized. But again, the utilization of concrete is likely to cause the threats to environment because it is having the tremendous consumption of cement, and the consumption of cement is indirectly causing the emission of CO2. So if you talk about the challenges in the construction of flexible pavement, the flexible pavement is likely to get deformed easily. So it is the prerequisite that the subbase or the subgrade of road should be strong enough to sustain the loads of the vehicles which are moving through the surface of that road pavement. So in order to stabilize the base, in order to stabilize the soil which is just supporting the flexible pavement, it is just the way to increase the stability of the supporting soil. So just if you are using the materials like chemicals or geopolymers in order to strengthen the soil, in order to increase the strength of that soil, so it will be a good option just to increase the soil stability. As far as your question is concerned, in case of agriculture, so in case of agriculture, we are not focusing much on the strength aspects of soil. So geopolymers are not likely to have application in case of agriculture.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for sparing your valuable time.
Thank you, Jishan. Now I would like to call our next participant, Sharma KRS.
Okay, good morning, madam.
Good
I'll
morning, you
share
can
the
turn on
screen.
your camera.
Okay. Can I share the screen, madam?
Yes, you can share your screen. Okay, so you're presenting in your phone, right?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
So you can zoom on your presentation because it's showing very small.
1 minute. 1 minute. Ma'am.
Yes, you can do landscape also. Yes.
Now it is visible, madam.
Yes, it is
Right.
visible properly. You can continue.
Good morning, one and all. I'll start my presentation. Myself, Sharma KRS, Associate Professor in Department of MBA, East West Institute of Technology, Bengaluru. So my topic is, research topic is, role of financial inclusion in agricultural sector through fintech services for the sustainable development of economy. So already they have mentioned the contents here. So directly I'll go to the abstract. So I have mentioned in the abstract, the fintech sector is plays a predominant or prominent role in financial inclusion. So that helps to attain the development of green economy, which accelerates the green finance in agricultural sector through various inclusion programs launched by Government of India. So the digital banking or mobile banking or other based payments will be or will help to promote the green economy, especially in agricultural sector. Different financial inclusion programs and also digital platform launched for marketing agricultural products at a fair price. Okay, and after that, the important thing is the card and mobile based payment system or e-commerce platform linking in agricultural value chain and financial institution providing a credit, green business, etc. for the green economic growth across the country. Why? Because what is that majority of the population, and majorly we can say around 58% of the population depend on agricultural based activities. So if you are giving the digital touch or digital payment system, if you are giving the financial literacy or digital literacy to them, so definitely we can consider for the sustainability in the economy. So then introduction. So I have quoted in the introduction itself, what is that what are all the RBI they have targeted, on the RBI initiatives in the sustainability development or the credit facilities to the agriculture. The financial inclusion, why I have mentioned the financial inclusion means, what is that in the basically in the agricultural sector, those have excluded from the financial facilities or services. Number of financial services offered by the financial institutions, but the beneficiaries or else the people, those who are excluded, they are not going to get benefited through these, what is that inclusion programs. Still there is a huge and big requirement to give the financial literacy and give awareness about the financial services provided by the financial institutions or Government of India. Similarly, the RBI, NABARD and many government institutions are aimed to achieve financial inclusion targets through the various schemes and programs. They have own their programs and schemes to achieve their targets. So here I have quoted some statistics. The financial inclusion is the important program seeks to transfer underlying inequalities. Through this, we can see the sustainable development and which will impact on growth of economy. Here, financial inclusion index for 2021 released by the RBI, improvement of 56.4 from 53.9 in 2021 across indices like access, usage and equality. So this shows how well the financial products and services can be accessed in the general population. Okay, directly we'll come to the review of literature. The Namita Vikas and others, they have given their opinion on this topic. The bank, how banks and financial institutions creates financial ecosystem through digital platform by linking finance, technology, and sustainability. It also recognizes various challenges and opportunities in fintech revolution faced by financial institutions. So banks, and both on demand side and supply side, the here author collects the data regarding digital finance as a secondary data for research from his industrial experience, and he also conduct the primary interview for the survey. Through this survey, he found that bank can easily survive if it incorporate fintech for providing different financial products and services for the customer. So majorly, again, they are concentrating on what is that bank should means financial institution should take some initiative to give the financial literacy, and as well as the financial services should be reached to the agricultural sector. Okay, then the problem definition. So what I have mentioned here, various articles reviewed, and what is that, more than 5 or 6 articles reviewed for this particular paper. The concept of financial inclusion initiatives and also the financial products and services boost the prosperity among the rural people by digital financial ecosystem and proper systematic delivery mechanisms. But this article analysis the several agri-tech startups. This is the new things, what is that we need to adopt in the country. Agri-tech startups introduced to uplift the financial status of the rural people that will in turn to achieve the sustainable process of financial inclusion in the country. It explains the role of latest cultivation practices by creating awareness about the digital means. So just I'll explain in what is that in short. So to uplift the financial status of the rural people, agri-tech startups, they will give the supporting some funding also they have made in this particular sector. And latest cultivation means we can, what is that drone, and what is the drone, introduce it drone in the agricultural sector is the latest technology. We can say that, what is that will also help for the agricultural sector. So here, so just I have mentioned here, so purely this is the purely secondary data I have used it to write the research paper. So just see here, the Ninja Cart, Bijak, Cropin, Argos, and so on till what is that puzzle, they have funding, what is funded various agri sector products and for the products and services from $184.1 million to $1.8 million, because what is that just they have started, what is that in the agri-tech startups they have started, and still what is that required a more concentration with respect to the particular sector. And this is results and the discussion I have what is that kept the RBI data. So here till 2021-22 they have given, they have made some targets and they have achieved also. So what happens, what is that in the RBI, sorry. Okay. RBI, what is that report says that in 2018-19, these financial banks had fixed targets and they have achieved also. But in during 2020, what is it, because of COVID, some kind of what is that affect, and as well as various economic factor also affect to achieve the target. But again 21-22 they have achievement is more than the target through the latest digital means attracts the customers and improves the standard of living in the society. Just in add on to this results and discussion, example, many of the programs of government of India, example I can take just one example, PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. So why? Because what is that digitalization happens in India and digital initiatives also taken place. These are all directly the amount and benefits credited to the agriculture or farmers. So we can say the statistics also till 2022-23, 8 crore 80 lakhs 84 lakhs 56,963 rupees. What is that they have credited to the directly to the farmer's account. From we can say 2021, 22, 22, 23 also till that data we can say that one. And majorly conclusion says in India, agriculture is the prominent occupation undertaken by the most of the people for their livelihood. Therefore, accessible, affordable, and innovation. These three are important points we need to concentrate. Accessible, affordable, and innovative. Financial product and services are essential to enhance the productivity of agricultural sector, because there are so many programs and services are there, but that accessibility and apart from that, the literacy level of the beneficiaries also it will take a major role here. So for that purpose, I have created the model in the paper. I cannot able to include in the PPT. I have created the model also, and the model says that financial plans and programs in agri sector and financial inclusion schemes through fintech services, and moreover financial literacy is the important role takes place to uplift the agricultural sector, and then we can go for the achieving the sustainable development of economy. Because already I have quoted 58% of the people in the country, they are depending on the agricultural activities. If you are giving proper financial literacy, they are literacy level is high in agriculture or the farmer in their particular sector, but financial literacy will give more weightage to uplift the economy of the country. So in that sense, I have created the model and I have kept in the full paper. And as I said here, what is that these digital means will uplift the economy, and especially in the agriculture sector that contribute largely to the GDP of the country. Other than the financial aid of agri-tech firms provides the many services like it might be cold storage facilities or technical assistant, etc., which will increase the productivity of the farming. When productivity of the farming is increases, automatically service sector also boost, and as well as the economy of the country will also increase. So more or less 20 plus references I had what is that used for the paper. So this is my presentation. Thank you one and all. Okay. Yes, madam.
Am I audible?
Okay, sir, I have one question. So
Yes,
your
ma'am.
study is related to the rural areas of the India.
Yes.
Okay, so as per our knowledge, our farmers are not that much educated. Okay, and
Yep.
don't you think it's a big challenge to achieve the financial literacy at the rural areas?
Exactly. What is that? Thank you for the right question you have written. So tier 1 and tier 2 cities we can make, and majorly the in the rural area already the self-help groups are acting in active participation, and microfinance institutions they have taking more participation in that sense. And small banks are also they are sounding in this, particularly in 2020 to 2022 they are making sound. Three major financial institutions they are supporting in the rural area, madam. And tier 1 and tier 2 cities, majorly we need to give the proper infrastructure. Already, whatever, what is that they are thinking, the digital India is a big failure there, what is that so many comments are there. But we are in right way, we can say that digital India is what is that focusing and we are succeeding. So nothing is impossible. Only thing is we need to concentrate in rural areas through the self-help groups, microfinancial institutions. Just we need to give some more infrastructure facilities like what is that network connections, and some more facilities like financial literacy increasing level for that education purpose. Some funds should be released through that we can achieve.
Okay, so in India, do we have any policies regarding this till now?
Okay. Till date, because agri-tech is the new thing they have introduced to support the credit facilities for the farmers. But for literacy level, the NABARD and RBI already taken initiative. NABARD and then RBI, they have taken so many initiatives to give the financial literacy. What I said, through microfinance only they are giving. But financial institutions, they are they are going to the rural people and they are giving, but it is not happening in largely. That is the only disadvantage. We need to make we need to fill the gap, that particular gap.
Okay, over to you, Anil Kumar ji. Dr. Anil Kumar. Okay, then we can move to the next participant.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, you are visible, but you are not audible, sir.
Okay, fine. Now
Yes,
you can.
yes,
okay,
sir.
Sorry. So
No,
my
sir,
question is that you mentioned that agri-tech startups are helpful. So what is the reliability of these startups? Do you consider that is there any kind of mechanism or there is any kind of checkout by the government that you can reliable on these startups? Because every year in India, thousands of startups started and they run away after 1 year or 6 months. And so how do you consider the reliability of these startups?
Okay. As I said, what is that from just 2018 onwards, they have concentrating all these in agri-tech startups. Still it requires its own way to reshape, and whatever you are talking about, the reliability is we cannot able to say right now. But still, I have included the data. Some $184.1 million they have funded through Ninja Card. So there is a major contribution to or major credit facilities to the agri sector from the Ninja Card. So it may take its own time to reshape, but the Indian government should take initiative and what is that with respect to the reliability, because so many consequences are there and so many regulations are there from the RBI and the NABARD, but still they have not concentrating and still they have not given any green signal to for the whatever you are taking the reliability. So let us see, sir, what is that till date they are what is the sounding good through agri-tech startups. I can say reliability. I am not sure. I have not checked it, but funded through agri-tech startups are good right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Sharma KRS, for your presentation. Next, I would like to call our next participant is Aslesha Bhargav and team. Aslesha, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes. You're not visible. Yes, now you're visible. You can present your screen.
Yes. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
No, it's not. Yes, now it's visible.
Is it visible?
Yes, you can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Aslesha Bhargava, a PhD scholar from Bangalore, Garden City University. Before I begin, I would like to thank Amity University for the wonderful opportunity given. And today here I am presenting my paper, Studies on the Application of Gate-to-Gate Life Cycle Assessment on Dyeing and Finishing of Cotton Fabrics. And contents are abstract, introduction and review of literature, problem definition, research methodology, results and discussion with the conclusion. So as we all know, textile industry has one of the highest negative environmental impact. It is the second largest industry which pollutes the environment. And here we have done a study of LCA analysis for dyeing and finishing of cotton knitted fabric. Here we have used two types of dyeing machine, winch dyeing machine and soft flow dyeing machine, in order to determine its environmental impact. So the LCA was done using two indicators, one EPD 2008 and Eco Indicator 99 methods. Under these parameters, the impact categories are checked in both dyeing machine. The result, the aim is to dye and finish the cotton knitted fabric in both the dyeing machines respectively. The analysis was carried out from gate to gate. and the results were compared and concluded. So from last decade, we have been seeing sustainable development and sustainable concepts a lot in different industries. So as well as textile industries, many industries have come up with a lot of new strategies, policies, and business methodology to implement sustainability in their production concept. So textile industry also aims at bringing or focusing on sustainable production, with fast fashion being in trend. It is very important, or can say very challenging, to identify every aspect or area where they can improve the sustainability, or to understand where the impact is going negative. So in this whole process, life cycle perspective of a fabric and its processing would help to bring sustainability criteria in the future objectives. So there were many literatures which were reviewed. Only few have been posted here. So one was improving work condition and production in the garment industry. So wherein some of the industries or concepts say that we have to use the resource in a very optimized manner, so that it is we don't harm it for the future generation. On the other hand, it said that sustainability pillars should be included, and also sustainability is considered as a very dynamic equilibrium. It's an interaction between population and the carrying capacity of its environment. So along with that, we also know that textile industry is one of the greatest economy provider for India, as especially in the segment of cotton, because India is the largest producer of cotton, and in 2020 it was the third highest exporter, and they are expecting it to be the number one by 2025. So textile industry is the second largest industry after agriculture that provides skilled and unskilled employment. So the objective of this paper is to evaluate the potential of environmental impact on dyeing and finishing cotton knitted fabric using a winch and soft flow dyeing machine. So basically two types of dyeing machine. So the research methodology followed was categorized into 4 segments. So first was to identify goal and scope. What is the goal? So here the goal is to study the gate-to-gate analysis, and it is conducted by primary data collection. So here it is just not dyeing and finishing. We also associated the primary other preparatory processes. So 10 bulk dyeing processes in each unit were collected. The primary data were collected, and the scope was to assess all the activities, input and output material flow, which was involved during the preparatory dyeing and finishing of the cotton knitted fabric. And the functional unit was using 3676.24 kg and 3690.48 kg of gray cotton knitted fabric in both the dyeing machines respectively. The system happened or carried out in the geographical boundary of Tirupur, India. And along with the dyeing and finishing, we also included steam generation processes, and which was fueled, industrial boiler, which was fueled by biomass, effluent treatment processes. All this primary data was collected, and life cycle inventory represents the whole studies related to the life cycle of system product. So here the collection and calculation procedure and the aim was to provide a detailed description of the input of raw material and fuel into the system, along with analyzing the outputs of solid, liquid and gaseous waste from the system. So it can be by the specific data. In case of lack of specific data, we used a generic data, and then the information was collected by bulk dyeing processes. So like mentioned, the inventory analysis was done using the EPD and eco indicator 99, where EPD is basically for global warming, ozone layer depletion, and eco indicator is for radiation, climate change, ecotoxicity, etc. So the results were, and LCA analysis helps us to identify the impact which is related to the various phases of the study. Here, as the scope of this analysis was just not limited for the preparatory dyeing and finishing, but also LCA here was approached to do a holistic analysis on the environmental impact by including the unit processes that has its contribution to negative environmental impact. So be it climate change, fossil fuels, in both the dyeing machine, the results were compared. So basically in these results were, all the impact categories were accumulated and divided in three. So one is based on human health, and then resource consumption, and third is ecosystem quality. So based on this, the impact was compared and the results were given. In eco indicator, in these three categories, soft flow dyeing machine had an upper hand, where winch dyeing machine had a more negative impact on the human health or resource utilization, as the especially in the water utilization is more in the winch dyeing machine. Then input output analysis here, especially when we talk about EPD, the input output analysis gives a higher rate in soft flow dyeing machine because of the dryer used in the system, wherein in eco indicator, the soft flow dyeing machine gives a less environmental impact compared to the winch dyeing machine. And the sodium carbonate, the third sector is sodium carbonate. Use of sodium carbonate is one of the major ingredient in dyeing. So actually, in contrast, the result we obtained was soft flow dyeing machine had a higher impact on the environment, which shouldn't be the case. But then when we analyzed, we understood that the recommend to save cost, the industry uses less of sodium carbonate than it is supposed to use. And that is why the winch dyeing machine was showing less impact on the environment. So these are the different results which we obtained from comparison and analysis. Yeah. So the result of this study showed that the cotton knitted fabric dyed using soft flow dyeing machine has a lesser environmental impact when compared to the winch dyeing machine, and both of them definitely has an environmental impact, especially when it is compared to the effluent treatment processes. But however, it can be said that it is less in soft flow dyeing machine. Thank you. I can't hear you.
Yes, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Aslesha, for your presentation. Sir, you can ask question now.
Yeah, Aslesha, I have one question. So, did you consider the human factors who are working in this dyeing process in the cotton industry? Because personally in Gujarat and in the Union Territory of Dadra Nagar Haveli, lots of industries are established there, textile industry. And I have personally visited those textile industries, and I found that they are having lots of health issues who are working in this dyeing process, right?
Yes, sir.
So did you consider any, because you consider only environmental factors? Okay, fine, that is one aspect, but what do you think the people who are working in this industry, they are getting lots of hazards and lots of health issues?
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Aslesha, please turn on your camera.
Yeah. Just it's because of network glitches. Just a second.
Okay, no issue.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Yes, definitely. I completely agree with you. Labor is being one of the major concern in textile industry. And every time brands talk about sustainability, most of the brands don't consider in aspect of labor. Even in my studies, I haven't directly considered on the labor factors, but yes, that is also in my list. That next paper, whenever I'm writing, I want to focus on the social aspects of textile industry, where completely on how the labors are being treated or their working wages, all that I want to consider.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Dr. Savita, do you have any question?
No, sir, we can move to the next candidate.
Okay, fine.
Now, I would like to call our next participant, Shefali Bareja and team. Shefali, are you there?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible but not visible. Yes, now you're visible. You can present your screen now.
Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible. Please share your slides.
One second. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible. Yes,
So
please
first of
continue.
all, good morning to one and all present here. I am Shefali Bareja, pursuing my PhD from MIT University, Manesar. And my topic for today's presentation is critical study of carbon policy and trading, economic sustainability and viability context in India. So coming to the first slides, which talk about the overview of my paper. One major act of human that can be and needs to be controlled. One second. One major act of humans that can be and needs to be controlled is carbon emission. Countries emitting above the legalized limit of carbon dioxide must decrease their emission or should buy carbon credit certificates that are tradable or else be prepared to pay the carbon tax. Carbon trading is an important policy measure created especially to address the problem of carbon emissions. Systematic studies show that the power, industry, and agricultural sectors are the major contributor to total carbon emissions. My paper critically focuses on the measures adopted by these sectors to reduce the carbon footprints in their organization, also on the procedure to earn carbon credits. The finding of my research revealed that focusing on SDG 13, that is action on climate change, carbon emissions can be reduced to a greater extent, and there's no doubt that the carbon market is expected to be the world's biggest commodity market after strong implementation of government policies and regulations. Now, coming to the buzzwords, which are global warming, melting of glaciers, rising of sea levels, extinction of species, n number of viruses and diseases, which we have come across in various research papers throughout my study. Because of these words, my paper is of much relevance. That's why we have picked up this topic for this paper presentation, because this conference is all about sustainable development goals. So climate change, carbon emission control, etc. are the major action under Sustainable Development Goal 13. What's happening with the PPT? Now, coming to the introduction part. Keeping in view the climate-related problems, Kyoto Protocol is perhaps the right step in this regard. Kyoto Protocol came into force on 16 February 2005. It operationalizes under United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Now, if we look at this picture, Kyoto Protocol is divided into two parts, project-based and allowance-based. Under project-based, we have two mechanisms, joint implementation mechanism, which takes place between developed countries, and the tradable commodities under joint implementation are emission reduction units. And in clean development mechanism, it takes place between developed and developing countries. India being a developing country, so CDM is the most suitable mechanism for our nation. And the tradable commodity in CDM is certified emission reduction units. Now, if we look at the other part of Kyoto Protocol, that is allowance-based, the mechanism is international emission trading, which takes place between developed countries. And the tradable units under this are assigned amount units. Now, if we look at this graph, which we have taken from IPCC report 2022, there has been a great rise in the amount of global net anthropogenic greenhouse gas emission. If we see the graph from 1990, there has been increase in the GHG from 38 gigaton to 59 gigatons, and the graph is continuously rising on. Now, if we see this blue part, which is CO2 from fossil fuel, it has the major content. So we can say major contributor to this emission is carbon dioxide from fossil fuel and industry. So the major focus of the nations is to reduce the level of carbon emissions and bring economic viability in this context. Now, coming to my objectives for this paper, first one is to evaluate the carbon emission in India, and second, to analyze the carbon trading market in India. Coming to the methodology part, my study is completely exploratory in nature. The author has collected data, secondary data from various research papers, journals, magazines, and other related websites on carbon policy. Annual reports of various companies have been reviewed by the author to collect data on carbon trading and quantities of certified emission reduction units. Now, if we see this pie chart, India stands at third position. First position is backed by China with 34% global carbon dioxide emissions. And on second position, we have USA at 15%. Now, because India is the third largest emitter of CO2, it becomes all the way more important that we create awareness among the citizens of our nation. The contributors to this may be manufacturers, may it be pharmaceutical companies, transport sector, energy sector, may it be any sector, whichever is bringing India to this position, have to be talked about or have to be discussed about this problem. Now, if we see the report by IPCC 2022, in 2019, 34% of total net anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions came from energy sector, which is the highest, and 24 from industries, 22 from agriculture, forestry, and land use, 15% from transport sector, and 6% from buildings. So in my paper, I have taken these three major contributors and organizations involved in energy, industry, and forestry sector, and what they are doing for carbon trading. Now, a brief introduction about carbon credits and carbon trading. Carbon credit refers to the legal tradable certificates that permit the right to emit 1 ton of carbon or carbon dioxide equivalent. It is a process of reimbursement made by the countries or parties emitting more greenhouse gases. A central authority sets a limit or cap on the amount of carbon that can be emitted. If we look at this picture, which I have taken just for an example, we have taken two organizations, organization X and organization Y. The authorities have set a limit to emit carbon dioxide. Now, if we see organization Y is emitting below the cap, so it has to buy carbon credits from some other agency, and organization is emitting below the cap, so it has some carbon credits awarded which it can sell further in future. These carbon credits can be bought or sold at international markets at a certain market price, dependent upon several factors. These markets are known as carbon markets. These carbon markets can be separated in two major categories: compliance market, voluntary market. Compliance market are those markets which have some regulatory body operating, and vice versa with voluntary market. In India, carbon credits are being traded on multi-commodity exchange and NCDEX, that is National Commodity and Derivative Exchange. One carbon credit permits only 1 ton of CO2 to be emitted. Now, if we look at this, it provides us the view to the procedure how to obtain carbon credits. Firstly, we have to identify emission generating activity, means we have to identify the project which is emitting the most carbon dioxide. Now, secondly, we have to quantify carbon dioxide emission. Once we quantify our emission, we decide how to reduce that carbon dioxide emission. After deciding the emission reduction process, we'll quantify the carbon credits that need to be bought or sold in the carbon market. Now, hello?
2 minutes more, Shefali.
Okay. Now, this table provides us the data about some corporates which are involving in carbon trading, selling of certified emission reduction units or renewable energy certificates. If we see the annual report of Tata Power, we see they have sold carbon credits of rupees 0.59 crores in financial year 2020 and 21, and renewable energy certificates were sold for 42.91 crores in March 2022 and 35.94 crores in financial year 2020 and 21. Same way with the Adani Greens, they earned a revenue of 35 crores in 2022 and 10 crores in 21. And this list goes on. If we see the NHPC report, we see carbon credit certificate was issued, but they have not earned any revenue in this financial year, but certificate were issued and their units were 24,36,839 for March 22 and 69,30,932 with 21. And if we see a village in Andhra Pradesh, Chalpadi, their Gond tribe sold carbon credits of worth rupees $4164 to a Germany company. Same with a nurture farm. These all farms are included in agricultural sector. Carbon credits they sold worth rupees 35 crores and 1,20,000 carbon credits are under process. So to conclude, after reviewing so many reports, we can say last year carbon credit market rose by Indian carbon credit market rose by 164% and is expected to cross $100 billion by 2030. Thus, we can say that carbon market is expected to be the world's biggest commodity market in future. The global volume of carbon credits traded reached 188 million tons carbon dioxide equivalent, and the annual traded value was $473 million. The global carbon credit market was valued $2115 billion in 2019 and expected to reach $2407.8 billion by 2027. The global market for compliance carbon credit is estimated to be worth euro 238 billion with annual trading volume estimated to be 10.7 billion gigatons. So we can say the awareness level among the organization regarding carbon trading is very high, and they are earning huge revenues just by reducing their carbon emissions and through trading of their carbon credits. And these are my references for this paper. Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Sure, Shefali, can you listen me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have two questions. First question is, as you mentioned in your presentation in the beginning, that third contributing factor is forestry contribution. How do you consider that forestry is?
Sir, I have mentioned in my paper that power sector, industry sector, and agricultural sector.
Yeah. So third one, 22% is something you have written.
Agriculture sector, yes.
Agriculture sector. So it is not forestry contribution.
Sir, forestry is also included in agriculture.
Yeah, this is my question. That's why I'm asking that how you can consider that it is responsible for carbon emission, right? This is first question. And second question is, like you consider that green cost of capital, how you can consider this factor in your paper? Green cost of capital.
Green cost of
capital, like if you are providing carbon credit or something. So what is the cost of capital for greening?
So your first question was regarding forestry. People burn a lot of fields, a lot of crop residues. This way they are contributing to carbon emission. And I'm not getting your second question, sir.
They are burning. So this in this way you mean that they are contributing in carbon emission because they are burning the trash of the output of agriculture produce, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Shefali. Thank you so much, sir. Ma'am, you have any question?
Okay, Shefali, as we all know, in developing country like India, am I audible clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. So in developing country like India, where our economy is based on our sectors like textile, automobiles, which are doing the most carbon emission. Okay. So what, according to your study, what suggestion you can give these developing countries to reduce their carbon emission without impacting their economy?
Ma'am, they should switch to renewable resources, and plantation drives should be there in their organizations.
I'm asking in terms of these industries, for example, textile industries or our power industries. So do you
Ma'am,
have suggestion for these
of
industries also?
in terms of power industry, they can switch to solar power or wind energies, which do not create a lot of carbon emissions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Shefali.
Thank you.
Now I would like to call our next participant, is Mona Chandra and team. Mona Chandra, are you there? Yes, you're visible, but you're not audible. You're not audible.
Audible now?
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, perfect. So I will
You can
share my
present your screen.
Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Not now.
I see. Yeah. All right. I think
Yes.
it's visible now.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, great.
Please continue.
So just a minute. Yeah. My topic is the sustainable is illegal. A socio-economic analysis of Indian cities. And I'll come straight to the abstract. This is, I took this up because of reference to the Smart City mission, which was launched by the Government of India in 2015 for an inclusive, culturally vibrant, efficient, and financially viable city, enhancing efficiency and transparency in governance, and reflecting cultural diversity of India with brownfield redevelopment of the poor areas and the unauthorized areas. And it has to be inclusive and sustainable. These are the broad, aspects of the Smart Cities mission. And the idea is, to put in a lot of technology and, AI, artificial intelligence, into monitoring how services are rendered and to see how governance can be done without people contact and to make it a very smooth process of city management. But this paper argues that the Indian cities cannot be inclusive unless there is a shift in the planners and residents' perspective. And I will take you through why that is, I say so. Because this discusses the economic reality of India. So when you correlate the economic reality of India with the current practice of urban planning, I find a gap. So this I'm going to take you through with the socio-economic survey data from government and private surveys to illustrate that the Smart Cities mission is not inclusive of the poor at the moment. So we are going to cover various aspects, but I'm going to come down straight to the graphics because we have less time. Before that, I'd like to give, there are about 55 research papers that have gone into making this paper. And to put it down, breaking it up on a step-by-step process, that, I want to start with the British Raj. Before the British Raj came into India, enjoyed about 23 to 25% of the world trade. And we traded, handicrafts, artifacts, jute cloth, and cotton cloth and muslin, which was very, very, coveted in the Western world. And in exchange for that, we got silver and gold, bullion. Now,
Sorry,
once the
slides are not moved.
slides are not moving,
Yeah, we are still on the title slide.
Maybe for the network issue.
then let me then come down to my phone. Maybe I'll go easier.
No, just manually select slide number 5.
I slide. Okay, I go back and forth. You mean I can stop sharing and come back again?
Yeah, you can do that.
Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible. Please go to the
Okay,
slide
perfect.
share and zoom it.
Oh, but I already have slide share on, but you cannot see that?
No, maybe some network issue is going on.
Full screen actually.
I'm on full screen and it says stop sharing as an
Maybe
option.
for the network issue for others also. No,
Is
you can
nobody able to
continue.
see?
Sir, you can see her slide, ma'am.
When we are on slide number 7,
Yes, literature review is
review
visible
of
to me.
literature slide is seen.
Yes, you can see that, right? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, so the historical background is that we had a very good trade with the world before the British came in. After the British came in, because we were exporting raw material and getting finished products, so our share in the world trade was only 2%, and all our money was being drained. So that is a background with which we start, our economic growth at independence. Now, because of that, we had a lot of artisans who went out of job and they had to fall back on agriculture. If they had no land, they became landless. Also, because of very high taxation, a lot of people could not pay their fixed taxes to the British Crown. And that is why they had to take care of moneylenders, take the help of moneylenders to repay their taxes and lose their land in the bargain, giving us a lot of landless laborers. Which has happened for the first time under the British. So that is the background. And if you look at the British cities, there were two kinds of cities. One was the white city for the white people, and the one was a black city for the natives. Now, the white city initially had the civil lines and the cantonment, and the civil lines would have the British officers, the banks, and the merchants. And later, of course, the Indian elite was also let into the white city. And the rest of the people stayed on the periphery and they would come into work and go. So the whole idea started from there, that the planning area was only the white city. What happened in the black city was left to the natives, and they would organize, do whatever they wanted. There was hardly any investment into that. Of course, later they did bring in Patrick Giddies to see how it could be solved, but then nothing was done about it. Now coming to understanding colonialism, post-colonialism, and neo-colonialism. So colonialism, all the colonized nations of the world were basically a raw material supplier to the colonizer. In the post-colonialism, we inherited the same system because the people who were running, the elite who were running the country, were trained in the same environment. They went to England to study, or they went to various other countries to study, and they came back and they continued the same administrative system. So the administrative system was us and them. The us was the elite and them was the riffraff of the rest of the population of India, which is still a post-colonial mindset, which is still there in our various government agencies. Neo-colonialism would be when we invited America, because we didn't want to collaborate with British, the British Empire after it had left. So India invited the Ford Foundation to help us to help us in boosting agricultural production and in industries and in education. Also asking them to help with town planning. So the Green Revolution was, with the help of the Ford Foundation also. Now, when it came to town planning, the Ford Foundation got an American town planner and a British town planner. And they then laid the foundation of the Indian Town Planning Act and did the town planning, proposed the town planning for Delhi and Calcutta. So this is how we start. So although we are independent, but still we are banking on the global north for solutions for ourselves. Now, I will take you then through the slides, which are important, and then we will cover the other points on the slides. I hope the slides are visible.
Ma'am, we are on slide number 5.
Actually, there is a network issue going on. You're in slide number 5, I think.
So ma'am, maybe escape kar lo. Just remove the full screen mode.
I have stopped sharing actually. So let me again screen share and see if we can get it.
So now it's a slide number 7. You can directly manually select, ma'am. Don't put it on the slide mode.
Slide number 7 only. I'm okay with this. So now if you look at, where are we standing? What is the ground reality that we're standing on, from which we should start, start considering India's urban planning is, if you look at the top slide, we have about 35% of people are in the urban area who are producing about 65% of GDP. It is almost the exact reverse, where you have 65% of population in the rural area producing, contributing to near 35% of GDP. So therefore, why is that so? Because we will come to the later slides. Now, when you look at the land holding, which is in the rural area, about 86.2% of the people are marginal farmers. Marginal farmers means, 2.5 acres is supposed to be adequate land to feed and look after one family. Now, majority of these people have less than 3 acres of land in a joint family setup. So the 86.2% of marginal farmers own 47.3% of land. While if you look at the middle range farmers are 13.2% in numbers, and they earn 43.6% of land. So they're very, very prosperous. The very prosperous are 0.6% in numbers, and they own 9% of land. So it is the marginal farmer who has distress migration, which is rural to rural or rural to urban. The rural to rural migration is generally, seasonal, and they would take their whole family to go and live in another place and come back. And generally they're illiterate and with low skill. While the one who go from rural to urban are generally the smarter, the more agile, the younger, they come singly before they find a footing, and then they may get their families over. And they again have a little better skill set than the rural to rural migration. Now, however, if you look at the skill set, this is a skilled workforce in 2020. This is all World Bank data, supported from various countries. Now, India had, there are two kinds of skill. One is a formally trained skill like the ITI and the professional courses, and the other is a learned skill, like a plumber would learn from the, start off as a helper and then become a plumber. The mason would start as a laborer and become a mason, like that. So only 5% of India are formally skilled, and 21% of India workforce is skilled. In the sense that, formally and informally combined. And the World Bank gives a skill set under 4 categories: level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So level 1 would be no skill, just, like agricultural laborers or laborers on factories and rickshaw pullers and things like that. Handcart, runners and vegetable vendors and all that. And level 2 would be, people who are maybe delivery boys, because they have a better skill in which they can drive and they can understand, directions, or maybe a telephone operator who can, log into a computer and then, take certain dictation and all that. So that is level 2. And level 3, level 4, would be the supervisors and the sales and marketing people and things. And then you have the higher skill, which are the professionals like doctors, lawyers, etc. And the CEO and all are beyond the labor list, because they have more skills. They're into managerial skill as well, more than a personal skill. So all that included, India is only 21% of skilled manpower, compared to 90, 96, 99%, almost 100% in UK, USA, and Japan, respectively. Now, that is why this marginal farmer who's going to come into Delhi, or this is showing how there's an exponential growth in the population of the 3 metros, and it will continue. It is projected to continue to grow, with Delhi topping the growth, followed by Bombay, and Calcutta shows a little dip. Now, when all of these people are going to come to the city, what are they going to do? So as per, if you look at the bottom right, this is a socioeconomic survey done by the government of Delhi, 2015 and 2020, repeated during COVID times, that almost half the people are into retail, and 40% of the retail are one-man shops, or somebody in the family, a father and a son, or two brothers or whatever running it, they have no hired help. And about 15% are industry would also include the micro, small, medium, micro, as well as the large industries. And 10% are services. So almost 75% of the population are into these kind of sectors, of which 40% is independent enterprises. So if you look at the bottom left again, now the share of GDP, if you notice that, the bottom one is the agriculture GDP is declining. The industry GDP is almost constant, because this is the thing with all colonized countries, we do not have a capital collection. So because our capital was drained during the colonial times. And that is why we have to bank on foreign investment to run our industry. And because of various governance issues and policy decisions, that FDI is not coming in to the extent we wanted. And we do not have so much, capital base as is required for industrial growth, because it is a changing technology. It has to be it needs constant energy input into it. And the industrial growth is currently is without increase in employment. Things are getting automated and things. So the maximum GDP share that we have to focus on, which is coming from the services sector, the IT sector, and all the other services that we have. Now, here it is a high-skilled job. So therefore, although there is an increase in GDP in the services sector, with our low skill set, it is not going to match. So I'm going to, if you look at the middle bottom, this is again World Bank data, which shows the percentage of the economic profile of different countries. So the India on the extreme right, 96% of our people are lower middle class or below. And if you look at Germany and USA, you can say Germany is a representative almost of all of Europe. Almost 90% of people are upper middle class and above. This is as per paying PPP, purchasing power parity. And only 5% are lower middle class or poor, or less than 5% are lower middle class or poor. So you cannot take systems from the global north and try to solve situations in the global south. All the developing countries have tried to do that and failed miserably. And that is why there is a term called urbanization of poverty. Because of the push from the village, people are coming into the city. They lack the skill to be gainfully employed. And that is why they have to take to vending, rickshaw pulling, laborers in markets, in industry, and with people. And because there's a glut of people, they have to go into informal employment, and they have very low wages. Now,
1 minute more, I can.
I will wind up by that. Now, if you look at the top, the age-wise population, India is supposed to be on the crux of a population dividend. Population dividend means that maximum number of people are in the working age, with very few children to support and few elderly to support. So in India, we are almost on the cusp of having 60% in the working age population and supporting a very low percentage of very small children. 30% of population is children, and about 8% are elderly. So this is going to last until 2050, where it is going to peak our population dividend. But unless we skill them, we cannot be a provider to the world for manpower. So this brings me to the problem definition. The current planning system is not working for Indian cities. The reason for this planning failure is lack of understanding of the larger economic dimensions. And the current urban planning is not a dynamic process. It is a rigid process which has fixed percentages. So if you go to a time planner, they will say, this percent, 50% has to be housing, 5% is commercial, 25% is road. They go with a very fixed number in their mind, which is not reflective of the economic reality. And that is why the planned colonies are housing only 23% of the population, and the rest of the people are in designated slums, herdment clusters, regularized, unauthorized colonies, resettlement colonies, urban villages, unauthorized colonies, rural villages, which are out of the purview of planning so far. We are trying to integrate, but it is very difficult to integrate because our very basis of the economic criteria is wrong. And that is why the research methodology here is, this is out of a process of about 5 stages of my total thesis. But this is stage 3, this paper, which is a critical, historic, exploratory, qualitative, fundamental, secondary research. And this is supported by surveys by the government and private agencies. Now, results and discussion. There is urbanization of poverty. There is killing India, which is very required. Self-generation of employment is a fact we cannot ignore. Requirement of public spaces, should to be used to monitor economic activity. The poor hardly has land to live. So they need space for their economic and their production and other things like that. Social spaces as well. So we need to support micro manufacturing. Japan did that. After World War II, it was a devastated economy. So they broke highly precise, very efficient, technically advanced manufacturing, broken down into very tiny part manufactured through a host of highly mechanized small scale industry. So affordable rental accommodation near employment opportunities. Now, this is something which many countries of the global south have said. The poor do not want to have ownership of their house. They are looking for a house near their job opportunity. So therefore, rental housing also needs to be brought into our planning. And it has to be a dynamic land use. We have a very fast changing system of economic development, and town planning should be a reflection of the economic system. So maybe we need to, in conclusion, cities are largely unpredictable because they are complex systems. They're not simple systems, they're complex systems that are more like organisms than machines. So we need to have certain benchmarks. If this is a threshold reached, then you use this plan. If that is a threshold used, you use another set of plans. So it has to be, quantified into different parameters by which different planning norms kick in. And that is why, going to the last point, town planning regulations have to be indigenous and flexible to evolving situations and economic realities with an inclusive mindset. Now, after that, there are just a lot of references. About 55 papers have gone into understanding the reality of India. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anil Kumar. Sir, you can ask question.
So yes, I have 2-3 questions actually. Your presentation was quite good, but it seems like you have mixed up all the presentation with town planning as well as sustainability, because there are 2-3 factors which has been mixed in your presentation. Like you have mentioned at one place that 2.5 acre land of required for a family, right? But how, whether you are having this kind of research, or what is the basis that, what is the basis that, because let me complete my question, because it depends on your area. Like in India, all the country are not having the same kind of environment, same kind of soil, same kind of irrigation facilities. So 2.5 acre, you cannot generalize this. This is my first question.
Okay.
Second is regarding, like you are mentioning that you have to provide accommodation near the job opportunity. Why you have not, do you suggest government that they should open the job opportunities in each and every cities rather than the big cities? Because this is the main issue actually in India.
Can I answer that? See, the thing is that there is
sure.
a certain logic in industry placement. Industry will always go to a place where it can maximize on its labor and transportation, right? So with the lacking of infrastructure in India, you would have the maximum connectivity, which is in the metro cities. And because of the initial industries which had already been set up, or like Bombay already being an economic base, it was attracting a lot of people. And therefore it was, if they're already an industrial cluster, it becomes cheaper for more industries to get in. So like Noida is an industrial cluster, and then you have Manesar an industrial cluster. So all those clusters also have a symbiotic thing. So in Gujarat, of course, there are new industrial clusters which are now coming up. In UP also, a lot of economic clusters are now being planned, but it will take a while for them to take off. So until that time, because there's also talk of rural industries to come up, but for one, we are not a power surplus country. We are not a technology advanced country. So there's going to be a gap until that happens. So until that gap happens, that is why I say it has to be a dynamic process. Because until we reach there, we need to engage our people. We need to give them employment, and they're generating their own employment by their own little setups. So we need to legalize that. We have everything illegal. If you sit on a footpath, you're illegal. If you do something else, if you have a house which is on government land, it is illegal. The affordability of 97% of our people is very low, and yet they need a livelihood, which we have to provide. Until that happens, what? So that was my premise. And as regarding the 2.4 acres, this is an average that the government data has given me. It is not my thing, because I'm not an agricultural expert. But of course, the point is well taken, that in case you have a, like a cash crop will have a different,
Yes, yes.
economic yield, and a millets or a low thing will have a low economic yield. But this is by and large an average that they have come up with, that I was just talking about. That is not my area of expertise. This is all government data, sir.
Okay, fine, fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to call our next participant, Ramendra Verma and team. Ramendra, are you there? Ramendra Verma and team. Ramendra Verma and team.
I think he is not available, so we can move to the next participant.
Sure, ma'am. Our next participant is Prerna and team. Prerna and team.
Yeah. Am I audible, ma'am? Or
yes.
Okay,
yes, you're
okay.
audible. You can
Just give
share
me-
your screen now.
Yeah, sure, sure. Just give me a few minutes. I am putting my desktop on share. Mm. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, please make that full screen.
Just a second. Is it just...
Yes, please continue.
Fine.
Please take 7 minutes.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Prerna. I'm a PhD research scholar under the guidance of Dr. Deepa Kapoor, associated with Amity University, Noida. My co-guide, Dr. Abhay Jain, is working as an associate professor in Shriram College of Commerce, University of Delhi. Now I am here to present our ideas or views on the behalf of my co-guide and guide also. These are the co-authors. The topic or the title of my paper is Framework for the Sustainable Tourism Using Blockchain Technology. The whole presentation is divided into 5 parts. First section, abstract, introduction, review of literature, development of hypothesis, and conclusion. Now I begin my presentation with the abstract. Today, tourism has not reached to the state of complete sustainability. So there are some challenges for the sustainable tourism. And this study is a theoretical framework founded on sustainable tourism and blockchain technology literature, and that how blockchain technology can be used to promote sustainable tourism. So as per this study, challenges associated with sustainable tourism can be addressed through the blockchain technology. And the study also proposed some ways by which the blockchain technology can bring the positive effects on the growth of sustainable tourism. That how can the inherent properties of blockchain technology can be used to promote the sustainable tourism. So this study, an attempt is made for this purpose. And now, second section of my presentation is introduction. In 2015, United Nations adopted 17 sustainable development goals in their 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Now, sustainable tourism is a key contributor to few goals of sustainable development, or to this to the goals that are involved in this 2030 agenda. Now, as I told you, tourism has not reached to the state of complete sustainability. So to reach tourism to its full potential, technological innovation is required. So now the trend is moving towards digitalized economy that integrate the digital technology into all economic, environmental, and social aspect or element of consumption and production. Now, blockchain technology is a groundbreaking technological innovation that can revolutionize the way conventional tourism industry works. So very few studies have looked at the disruptive technology in context of sustainable tourism. And the aim of this study is to propose a theoretical framework for directing the development of sustainable tourism using blockchain technology. And the study will contribute to the existing body of literature that how a particular set of properties inherent to the blockchain technology may be connected to the aspects of sustainable tourism. Now moving to my next slide, review of literature. Blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is a distributed database system that is used to store the digital information. So here we store the data or information in groups. These groups are called blocks. So blocks have certain storage capacity. When the block is filled, it is linked to the previously filled block. And to store new information, we use we create a new block. So there is a chain. That's why we call it a blockchain technology. And the blockchain use algorithms and cryptography to record and sync the data across a network in a way that cannot be changed. So immutability is a very distinctive feature of this, that here the data cannot be changed or altered. If one person try to alter the data, then he needs to first the other nodes will first verify it, then only he can change. So the chances of alteration are very less. In fact, there is no chance to alter the data. So immutability, that is one of a very unique feature of this technology. Then decentralization, there is no central authority, peer-to-peer networking is done. So here people can directly deal with the other people. There is no central control of central authority that control the whole data. So there are networks, there are nodes, and they have the copies of whole data. So it is decentralized. That is one of the unique feature. Then disintermediation is also there when there is no intermediaries. That also removes the intermediaries because of its potential to build trust. As I told you, there is a peer-to-peer transactions without done without the need of the third party. So disintermediation is also there. And one of the unique feature of this blockchain technology is traceability or trackability. That means all transactions can be traced to authenticate their origin and path. We can track the transaction. There is a time-based data is stored. So this is blockchain technology, and we can use these distinctive feature of blockchain technology to promote sustainable tourism. So there are some challenges of sustainable tourism because of some space or time constraint. I have mentioned only two. However, there are many. So tourism is largely dependent upon the fossil fuels and natural resources. So when we burn the fossil fuels, that will generate carbon emission, and ultimately that will contribute towards the greenhouse gases. And there are many surveys done. In fact, a survey was done in 2018 by Lenzen, reported in Nature Briefing. 160 countries were involved, and it was concluded that tourism accounts 8% of global greenhouse gases. In fact, India has a fourth largest carbon footprint because of, and majority of carbon footprints are because of domestic travelers. Then waste management, food supply, all these are the challenges. In fact, sustainable tourist behavior. Tourists are also the important stakeholders. So that is also one of the big challenge, because it is a responsibility of all the stakeholders to contribute towards the sustainability. Just a second, moving to now. On the basis of literature review, we have developed some hypotheses. Now, first hypothesis is blockchain technology facilitates the sustainable tourism through the reduction of greenhouse gases. Now, as I have discussed, the unique feature, distinctive feature of blockchain technology, disintermediation, decentralization, traceability, then immutability. Now, trackability. So here, as I told you, India has a fourth largest carbon footprint, and majority of carbon footprint are caused because of domestic travel. So future of travel can be reshaped by the blockchain technology. So there is a feature of trackability. Trackability allow us to track the product status, and we can also the product status and emission from beginning to end. So we can find out the areas where there's more carbon emission. So trackability can be used, and we can find out the best way to reduce the carbon emission in this way. And there is one more thing, that these companies also get the carbon credits. So if there is no intermediary, they can buy a fuel which is, we can say, a bit more environment friendly. For example, if we compare petrol and CNG is relatively, we can say, a bit more environment friendly. They can directly buy it from the party, and we can reduce the number of intermediaries. In this way, they can directly deal and save the cost. And ultimately, there is no need to buy the carbon credit from the others, and they can save their carbon credits. Then second hypothesis we developed, blockchain technology facilitates the sustainable tourism through the promotion of local economy. Now, so here, local people and local businesses or small businesses, they can enter into the hospitality or tourism businesses. So with the help of this blockchain, they can identify the client's requirement, they can identify the client's data, and they can directly contact the travelers or the tourist without any intermediary. So they can also enter into the business, and tourists can also get the authentic travel experience. So instead of staying in hotels, or they can go for homestay in local people, they can opt for such and in fact they can get authentic travel experience. They can get the suggestion from the local people to visit the places. So blockchain technology facilitates the sustainable tourism through the promotion of local economy. Now, third hypothesis we developed, blockchain technology facilitates the sustainable tourism through the preservation of cultural heritage. Now, cultural heritage is the primary reason for tourist visit, particularly in case of cultural tourism, in case of nature tourism. So local businesses, small businesses that conserve the cultural heritage or the traditional value, they can directly contact the tourist, and in fact, tourist can ensure the transparency, quality, and origin of data. They can buy the product from those people, and they can be sure about the originality of the products also with the help of this blockchain technology. So here, local people, they can offer their product. Then further, fourth hypothesis is blockchain technology facilitates the sustainable tourism through the management of food waste and supply chain. So here we can use the feature of traceability. Again, if so here time-based data is maintained, and we have the updated information, so we can identify the areas of wastage. So in case if there's a excess food, we can stakeholders can make the decision at the right time. They can redistribute those the excess food. Yes,
1 minute more, Prerna.
Okay, just give me a minute. I'll just wind up within a minute. Then the other hypothesis we have developed, the trustworthy review system and rating system. Now, generally, there is a central authority. Those have a control over the review system and rating system. Now, if we have this technology, we cannot manipulate. Central authority cannot manipulate the system because there is a peer-to-peer. Nodes are there, and there is no central authority. Then sustainable tourism behaviors, sustainable consumer behavior, tourist satisfaction can be increased. Now, if we use this technology, they can get the information in advance about the flights delay, about the luggage tracking. So sustainable, so customization of services, total tourist overall satisfaction will be there. So finally, by using these distinctive properties, we can contribute we can contribute to the sustainable tourism, and to some extent, we can also contribute to the sustainable development goals. For example, sustainable development goals 13 deals with the, it's related to the climate action. So if we use this technology to reduce the greenhouse gas emission to some extent, that will contribute to the goal of sustainable development goal 13. Okay, I'll just a second. Ma'am, I'm not able to, just a second.
Yes, your screen is visible, Prerna. Now it's not visible.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Prerna. Sir, you can ask question now.
Yes, so Prerna, I have one question. Actually,
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned the use of blockchain technology for sustainable tourism. So did you consider this particular factor like blockchain technology as independent variables and some intermediate variables than the sustainable tourism, or what kind of model you design in research?
Sir, it's a theoretical framework founded on sustainable tourism and blockchain technology literature. Actually, I use the combination of two keywords to search the literature, this sustainable tourism and blockchain technology.
No,
So
that
when
I got. That I
Yes, sir.
got. That is clear. I mean, you are having some kind of mediation, moderation variables in your
No,
model?
sir. No, sir. No,
Okay,
sir. No,
fine.
sir.
Okay, fine.
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. A final call for Ramendra Verma.
Yes, I'm there.
Yes, sir. You are audible. You can share your screen now.
Okay. Let me know when you can see the screen.
Sure.
Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible. You can, yes. Please continue. 7 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ramendra Verma. I'm a PhD scholar with the Amity International Business School. My co-authors are Kokil Jain ma'am and Shikha Kapoor ma'am. Before I get into the details, I'll just explain my background and why I have chosen this topic of exploring barriers to acceptance of artificial intelligence and social welfare schemes of governments in India. I have been a consultant to the government for more than 25 years, and I have been working largely on IT-related projects. And somewhere in the entire journey, I have seen government focusing on IT, especially using artificial intelligence in revenue enhancing projects like with income tax, where I was a consultant, and in the state governments, which is GST and the sales tax in earlier regime. So that there has been a lot of focus there. And the common question which came to my mind is whenever we go and ask for any government services, especially around getting some welfare pensions or any type of financial support, there are lots of documents which are asked to establish your identity. And when you start doing it, you realize that most of these documents already exist with the government. So government is not using the database which already exists and largely this is reactive in nature. So a person has to approach the government to get a particular type of assistance. Whereas the role of the government is to proactively reach out to the persons who is actually needy. And government has all the data and the technologies to identify the people who are actually needy. And the person who is actually needy may not be literate, may not be even knowing the schemes. Last of all, he will not be, having the confidence to approach the government officials and get through the myriads of the government to get that financial benefit. So that's the onerous responsibility of the government to identify such peoples and reach out to them. So why the government is not doing this is the topic of research. Given that we have a time limitation, I will just touch the key things So right now, government is already spending around 17 lakh crores of funds in doing social welfare schemes. This is touch across the central as well as the state government schemes. And this includes all type of welfare schemes, whether it is financial or in kind, for example, in houses, gases, and so on. So, so this is the amount of financial outlay which the government has. Very often, there is a lot of leakages, and leakages are not only in terms of financial. If a rightful person is not getting that benefit, that's also a leakage. So a substantial amount of money is not getting to the right recipients. I have highlighted the problems. I'll move to the next one. Now, in this particular thing, when I started to do the paper, I identified what are the research gaps. There are, thousands of papers available on artificial intelligence. But if you get into the details, it has been largely on the focusing on algorithm, performance, framework, prediction systems, and so on. But very less in why there has been a challenge in low adoption rate of artificial intelligence in providing any type of government services, forget social welfare schemes. The last paper which I referred was in 2018, where they could get only 14 papers by using the keywords like artificial intelligence, public AI, and government AI. So there is a lot of value which the government will also get by doing a research in this. And the methodology being followed was a systematic literature review, formulating the right objectives, questions, and then selecting the keywords. This is the most important part in the SLR. And I had to, spend quite a bit of time doing it iterative across various databases, as well as using the different words, and then analyzing and synthesizing the findings, and then obviously reporting and making use of the results. So this is the methodology which was followed. So the focus of the research was to identify and explore factors affecting use of AI in providing government services in India, number one. Number two, to identify and explore the relationship between factors affecting use of artificial intelligence in India and the government citizen services. And the third one is to open new vistas of research in the government services delivery in India. This paper is largely focused on the criteria serial number one, where we are identifying, exploring factors. My second paper would be based upon the serial number two, which is not covered in this paper. The keywords which were used were AI and artificial intelligence, public governance, government or public sector or public service, and the Web of Science, Scopus, and Google Scholars were used. The limitation was that we used only English as a medium of the paper. Search result, there were 476 results, but varying steps. Finally, there were 35 papers which were chosen. The trend which was there, typically the paper which has started getting published, this is out of these 35 papers, the papers which were published since 2018, 19, 20, and 21, it was 11 papers each. 22 is still on, and I'm keeping a tab of it. Largely, the research has been happening in China. A lot of research is happening. Collaborative work is happening between the Europe and the US. Largely, this type of articles have been very popular in Government Information Quarterly and Pervasive Health, because health is another area where artificial intelligence is being used very drastically. Now, out of these 35 papers by extensive research, 82 barriers were identified. If you see, the barriers regarding large were the social environment issues, organizational issues, technology related issues, technology ecosystem issues, and individual related issues. The social barriers were there in terms of, there are a lot of debate happening in the morality and the values, the ethics part of the usage of AI, because a lot of biases can get into the analysis. which typically are not there when we, or at least they are not put on paper when we in the normal case of things. So there are various studies which identify that if you are a particular race, etc., you are you are more identified with any criminal incident which has happened, and this is the work which was done in US. In India also there is a lot of issues around. There's a black box which is there at the back end. So if a particular recommendation is coming that this person should be getting this benefit, on what basis has it been decided? That is not recommended. And if a government official has to decide on what is the reason by which a particular person has been given aid versus why he has not been, he does not know the logic. And whereas as a government official, he is accountable for that decision. So government officials are very, very hesitant in using an artificial system for which they are accountable, but they don't know on what manner this was decided. So this was one of the key factors. I'm not going through all of them. Then there are certain organizational issues within the organization in the government, depending upon the complexity, what is the funding being given, what are the culture of the organization, what is the strategy of the organization, and what is the readiness of the organization. All these are very important factors in choosing AI for use of giving financial benefits to the population. There are lots of technology constraints, and especially around the technology has not evolved to the extent that it can document the reason on which a particular recommendation is being made, which this research is currently on. Hopefully, if once this is there, it will be a very important factor for its acceptability in the government. Data is dispersed all across. The quality of the data is an issue. Apart from this, the technology ecosystem in terms of the supplier ecosystem as well as the peer ecosystem, there are challenges associated. Last but not the least, it's a human dignity and rights issues are also there. So typically these are the 82 factors which were identified. The idea of this was that we, once this paper is published, we socialize this with the government officials in the IT and the welfare department to educate them that these are the challenges and then decide how they should be moving forward. So this is in a very short, within 7 minutes, I think I'm sticking to the time. This is my paper.
So much, sir, you can ask question now.
Yes, sure. My question is related to, as you mentioned, that government should apply artificial intelligence in social welfare scheme. Do you think that a country where our electricity is a big problem in rural areas and internet connectivity is also a big area, big issue, how it is possible that you can easily recommend the government that they can implement such kind of social welfare schemes? Because largely and most of the schemes are focused on poor and rural people, right? So I do not think that it is a feasible solution because it required a huge infrastructure, huge investment from the government side, because we are already facing lots of issues regarding the technology connectivity. Even you can see in our mobile connectivity. So it is a very difficult, challenging. What do you think about this?
So what you are saying is a very important thing, which was the relevance of this thing is going down exponentially every year. So the government has already, each and every panchayat, 250,000, you are having a computer system in each and every panchayat nowadays with redundant power backup and network. The network lines are all available in the country right now. There are a few districts where there are challenges, especially in Chhattisgarh and MP, but those are also being addressed. So in some time, I don't think this will be an issue. Already when we started this digital payment challenge, when Mr. Arun Jaitley was there, I remember him and we were in a meeting and he gave a target that we should be doing so many million transactions in a year, and that number looked very huge. But during this pandemic, the country has hit the ball out of the park. So we are really very moving at a very fast pace as far as the digital connectivity to the last mile is concerned. Moreover, here the issue is more in terms of having the data of the people, which is already there in some way and form, whether it is in ration card, whether it is in a voter bank, whether it is in terms of licenses. So the data already exists with the state government in various databases. So it's already there. Further data can also come from the Panchayati Raj if and when if it is asked.
So you are quite positive regarding this. Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine.
I'm positive. My major angst lies, sir. Government is very. I mean, the challenges which you are saying were already there.
Ramendra, I am basically from UP. If you consider the condition of Uttar Pradesh, right, and in rural areas, still there is a shortage of power supply, like 4 hours or 8 hours, or sometimes it is for whole day. Right now I am out of country, but still I belongs to a village. I have a village. And whenever I get a chance to visit that particular place, I do not find any of these kind of facilities in my village, like you are mentioning, right? So this is my concern actually. Anyway, okay,
absolutely
fine.
Appreciated, sir. I am also from UP. My village is in the Raebareli district near Bachrawa. And there are at least 2-3 common service centers which have come up. This is over and above the Panchayati Raj computerization. You are right. There is 6 hours of power cut which is happening, but through UPS the backup power is being given. There are various services which are being given. Now there may be a few places where it may not be, but if you see in the last 5-6 years, there has been a huge lot of change which is coming in. Moreover, the issue is more on getting the data of the people. You need not have connectivity at the last mile. If I'm having the database at a district level for the people who are not so rich or are poor, that data already exists with the government. I'm not asking to collect more data. My basic pain is you have all the data. Similar challenges were there in income tax. You went ahead and solved those problem because you are earning money. Here you have to give out money, so you're not interested. You're taking a lackadaisical approach towards this. So that's my pain in this entire thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. I would like to call our last participants, Mahesh Aran and team. Mahesh, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm
Good
just
afternoon.
sharing my presentation.
Please, yes, share your screen.
One participant has to off the screen, then I am.
Mr. Verma, your screen is visible. Okay. Can you stop your screen?
I'm just trying to. Let me just log out and I'll log in.
You can just close it.
Okay.
Click on share screen and
Stop sharing.
Stop sharing.
Is it done?
Yes. Yes, Mahesh, you can share your screen.
Hope this is visible. Is it?
Yes. Yes, please continue.
Yeah, good afternoon, esteemed panel member. I am Mahesh Sharan. I am working as Assistant Director in the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, and I am the research scholar in MIT Business School, doing PhD under the able guidance of Dr. Ajay Kumar Pandey. He is the Associate Professor, MIT Business School, MIT University, Gurugram. So today I am here to present the paper on digital economy, metamorphosis from paranoia to panacea in financial inclusion. So this will be the flow of the presentation: abstract, introduction, review of literature, objective of the study, research methodology, result and discussion, conclusion and references. So moving on the abstract, that this paper attempts to provide a comprehensive review of the growth of the digital financial inclusion in India, covering various initiatives taken by Government of India to promote the digital financial inclusion in past recent years. This study will also recognize the mammoth growth of transactions and volume in the five instruments like UPI, NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, prepaid payment instruments, etc. This study also make an endeavor to cover intra-country comparison to measure the growth of digital financial inclusion worldwide. So this paper can be categorized under the JEL classification code G51, G53, and G59. Moving towards introduction, to give the impetus to the digital payment system and to give the impetus to the better settlement of digital payment system, Government of India initiated number of new digital payment modes under National Payment Corporation of India. Several other products and services have also been launched like BHIM, like UPI, IMPS, NACH, some check truncation system, and this National Electronic Toll Collection System also. And very recently, the government, RBI has also launched CBDC, that Central Bank Digital Currency. So this is the review of existing review of literature. I have mentioned few papers, but due to time constraint, I have not mentioned other papers also. So coming to the objective of the study, the main aim of the study is to make a comprehensive review of the growth of digital financial inclusion in India. I have taken the secondary data from RBI annual report from March 2017 to March 2022. Second, to understand, to comprehend whether there is a significant difference or not in the growth of various digital platforms, that is UPI, RTGS, NEFT, credit card, and other prepaid payment instrument in terms of value and volume of transactions. Moving further, research methodology, I have applied two tools. One is Fisher test, popularly known as F-test, one-factor model. This tool will assist in comprehending the that there is a significant difference or not in the growth of various digital platforms in all these five instruments from the volume point of view as well as from value point of view. And next tool which I have applied is parabolic trend equation. This tool will assist in ascertaining the trend in the growth of various digital platforms from volume and value point of view, whether the trend of these digital platform instrument will is showing the positive trend or negative trend in the years to come. Coming on the research and discussions, gauging the performance of digital platform, I have assumed that null hypothesis is there is no significant difference in the growth of various digital platforms for the research period, as mentioned, March 2017 to March 2022, and alternative hypothesis that there is a significant difference. After the analysis, I came on the decision that since the p-value is less than 0.05, that p-value on the table is less than 0.05, that is actually 0.031476. So null hypothesis is rejected. Hence, I found that there is a significant difference in the growth of various digital platforms during the research period. Next, in the previous analysis, this was based on the volume analysis of all the five instruments during the research period, and from the value-wise analysis, it was found that the calculated value of F was higher than the table value at the 5% level of significance. That's why here also null hypothesis was rejected. So it was found that there is a significant difference in the value of various digital platforms. So from the above, it may be opined that UPI has been proved to the panacea from digital banking system, merging several banking features, seamless fund routing and merchant payments into one hood. It is evident from the analysis that there is a multifold growth in the value and volume of UPI transactions since 2017 and during the research period compared to other platforms like RTGS, NEFT, credit card, and UPI. There may be some limitation of this study also, as this research study is totally based on the secondary data collected from the RBI website as well as the other annual report of RBI. And due to various other technical constraints, all the facets and facts of the financial inclusion could not be studied. So, moving further to the parabolic trend equation, so it was observed that there is a mammoth growth of the transaction in terms of value and volume of the transaction in UPI. And the data shows that there is a surge in the value of UPI transaction from rupees 69 billion in 2017 to 84,000 billion in 2022. So there is a multi-fold growth in the value and volume of the UPI transaction. And with the help of parabolic trend equation tool, it is expected that similar growth may be observed by 2030 as depicted by the trend line in the chart. Similarly, the volume of the UPI transaction was also increased from 18 million to approximately 46,000 million in 2022. So it is noted that as a quick payment mode, public at large is accepting the mode of digital payment. If comparatively, if we see the growth of RTGS and NEFT transaction, it is observed that volume and value both are increasing, but there is a downward trend in terms of value of transaction. The reason may be shifting of users from this instrument to UPI platform, as well as negative impact of COVID-19 pandemic, other economic development, etc. It is expected to register the growth of RTGS transaction with similar pace in 2030, that is rupees 130,000 billion in terms of value and 345 million in terms of volume. Similarly, in the case of credit card usage, it is evident that there is a less growth in credit card and PPI transactions comparing to UPI platform. So from all the analysis, we can say that the growth of all other RTGS, NEFT, credit card, and other prepaid payment instrument, the growth of all these instruments has been shifted to UPI after this initialization of UPI since March 2017. So on the basis of this analysis, we may conclude that, and it is observed that India is making rapid strides in digital financial inclusion. With the help of given data and its analysis, it is clear that more and more population is coming under the ambit of financial inclusion. Thus, it may be opined that in near future, the network of digital platform will be developed, and due to robust financial inclusion initiatives, the whole population of India will be covered under the formal financial framework. So by accelerating the pace of financial inclusion, the government has brought substantial number of unbanked population under the fold of formal banking system, as evident from the growing number of transactions in digital platforms. So these are the references, some of the references which I have mentioned here, but other references also, approximately 25 to 30 research paper I have referred. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sir, you can ask question now. Anil sir, are you there?
Yeah. So
Yes, sir, you can ask question.
My question is, what do you think about that? How much rural people are associated with this financial inclusion? Do you consider that they are using these platforms?
Exactly, sir. If we see from the previous year data, then most of the people, more and more people are coming under the ambit of financial inclusion. But certainly, the 100% population is not coming under the financial inclusion. If we see the study of 2012, it was found that approximately 10% of the Indian population was under the ambit of financial inclusion. But certainly it has now been increased from 10% to 44 or 45%. But in the years to come, we will definitely achieve the target of 90-95% of population by 2030 or 2035.
Because I have observed two categories of customers in India, like old age people, like who are above 60 years, means you consider that old age people as well as rural people, they are afraid of using these platforms, and because of this reason, maybe financial inclusion, the target of financial inclusion is not achieved, whatever government is planning.
Yes, sir. But
So
there is a huge corpus under the Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority. 2,000 crore rupees fund is available, and Ministry of Corporate Affairs and IPF Authority, they are organizing investor awareness programs rigorously through Reserve Bank of India and Securities and Exchange Board of India. They are organizing programs to aware the people so that they can freely use the digital banking services. And one more reason is here is that the people who are afraid for using digital banking, there may be due to the digital fraud, because there is a positive, there is a positive relation between growth in the financial inclusion and growth in the chances of digital fraud. So, so ultimately, this is the call to be taken by the government, that they should aware people by any way. Either they should use the financial awareness initiatives, financial literacy, or any way they have to educate the people, because ultimately the digital banking now on the boom.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Momita, you have mic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Before ending the session, I would like to invite our session chair, Dr. Anil Kumar, to share some words of wisdom to our participant. Please, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Momita. So, total we have presented 9 papers in this session.
Yes,
and
sir.
all the presenters were presented their research work very excellently. And these papers are ranging from carbon emission to refractories, fintech, sustainabilities, and sustainable tourism, and artificial intelligence use in social welfare. Means so topics were quite diversified, not a particular means in area specified, and digital economy in the end. And all the presenters have definitely shared their valuable knowledge with us, and their presenters, their work was quite interesting. And I think all the attendees have gained some kind of insight for future research work. Thank you, Amity University, for providing this opportunity to me as a session chair. So thank you, Momita, for your support and help. Thank you to the Savita madam for reminding me that session is going to start at 9:30, because I was having some kind of intention like it is at 10 o'clock. So thanks to both of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. Now, I would like to congratulate all the participants for sharing such important knowledge which help us to all move towards the achievements of sustainability goals. I would like to thank Dr. Anil Kumar and Dr. Savita Man for their guidance and valuable time. With this, we're ending today's technical session. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
So much.